Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive, and we're here today for a special ceremony to mark International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Today is Thursday, January 27th, and on this day we remember all of those who died in the Holocaust, and we take a special moment to remember them by lighting up a host of our major facilities yellow as a sign of remembrance and in a thematic effort across the board. We're going to be joined in a few seconds by Millie, Jasper, who's the Executive Director of the Holocaust and Human Rights Education Center here in Westchester County. We'll also be joined by the CEO of Westchester Jewish Council, Elliot Forchheimer, and then Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins will also join us to close out our conversation. There are many organizations across New York State that are focused on this particular day, and it's important to note that what we're doing at the Westchester County Center to light it up yellow is also being repeated in Niagara Falls, across the Cuomo Bridge, the One World Trade Center, and other buildings in Suffolk and Nassau County. You're going to be seeing in our video here exactly how we're going to treat the look of the Westchester County Center. We don't have lights to light it yellow, but we have these 5 panels that stand over the entranceway to this beautiful Art Deco building, and they will each have a lighting in yellow, and will show the insignia of Westchester County recognizing International Holocaust Remembrance Day over the course of this day. Since we can't do that in a traditional way, we intend to do it, however, in a continual way. This is the first time that Westchester County has marked this occasion on one of its buildings, and when we were asked about this, we were happy to participate because we think it is an important element to highlight. Both Millie, Jasper and Elliot Forchheimer will talk a little bit more about the day itself, but I think it's important to know that the horrors of the Holocaust, which have been well documented, can never afford to be forgotten. And so if we repeat the story of what happened, and on this day when the concentration camps, I believe at Auschwitz and Birkenau, were liberated, that story is told again from generation to generation so that we don't repeat the behavior, the hatred, the creation of a narrative that one group of people in Nazi Germany directed toward another group of people, hatred that was part of a political dialogue that became part of an effort to exterminate a group of people. This is very important for us to remember because what happened in Nazi Germany is not limited to Nazi Germany. We've known of other examples of anti-Semitism worldwide and hatred that turned into genocide against other groups in other parts of the world. And while we know that we have a wonderful country that prizes our freedom, these kind of evil things can happen anywhere we drop our guard, anywhere we decide to let the voices of hatred run amok. And not to challenge them, not to stand up and push back on them and say that this is not acceptable in our community. And so for today's purposes, as we never forget these men and women, we will from this day forward remember this day, International Holocaust Day, here in Westchester County with proper remembrance. Let me now ask to come to the podium Millie Jasper, who, as I said, is the Executive Director of the Holocaust and Human Rights Education Center. She's been at the forefront of education and dialogue all across Westchester County. We're very fortunate to have her in that position, and we're very fortunate to have her here today to share her thoughts on this day. Millie.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate all that you just said. It is so important to mark today, International Holocaust Remembrance Day, and we are grateful to Westchester County and to George Latimer and the team for lighting up the building at the county center in yellow. This is the inaugural time that we're doing it, and it really is an exciting thing to do and just so important for everybody. It's a wonderful way to bring awareness to the community. We are grateful to the county executive and the team for supporting proper Holocaust education in Westchester County. And I'd like to take a moment to thank the teachers in Westchester County and all the schools, both public and private, who teach about the Holocaust. You take advantage of our programming and programming throughout the country, including bringing local Holocaust survivors into your schools to share their Holocaust experiences, attending our subsidized trips to Poland and Germany, and attending our student institutes. Just this week, the McMinn County School Board in southeastern Tennessee banned the book Mouse by Art Spiegelman in the classrooms. This censorship has no place in our educational system, and we are grateful to be living in an area where we do not shy away from uncomfortable facts. We teach the truth, we teach it with sensitivity, and we teach about human rights through the lens of the Holocaust. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Millie, and we want to thank you again and your organization for your leadership that you've shown across Westchester County in making sure that public education is available for young people and for those of us as adults, that there be seminars, even in this world of COVID when we're doing so much virtually, that we continue to have that dialogue and that helpful understanding of what happened those years ago. I would also like to highlight that our Human Rights Commission, under the leadership of Tejas Anchala as its executive director, and Reverend Doris Dalton, who is the chair of the Human Rights Commission, has prioritized the education to fight anti-Semitism. We'll have some discussions about that over the next couple of months, and some announcements to be made along those areas. But of course, what your organization is, Millie, is critical in that process. And we also now want to ask Elliot Forchheimer to join us. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Westchester Jewish Council. This is a consortium that brings together a wide variety of voices in the Jewish community, their activities as well, many times in harmony with the Holocaust education effort, has been very important and very valuable to us. So Elliot, please join us, share your thoughts today.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive and staff, Mr. Deputy County Executive. And thank you, Millie Jasper, my wonderful friend and colleague, and the Executive Director of the Holocaust and Human Rights Education Center. We say never again. Never again may the atrocities of the Holocaust be tolerated in our great country, in the world. Never again can we allow anti-Semitism to occur, or any form of hate. We saw it happen 2 weeks ago in Texas, in a synagogue, where people went to pray and they became hostages. Never again. Not here, not there, not anywhere, and not in our great county of Westchester. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Elliot Forchheimer, Chief Executive Officer of the Westchester Jewish Council. I'm going to ask in a second our Deputy County Executive, Ken Jenkins, to close our conversation today. I just want to point out that we're here today to show that we're taking the very symbolic step at the County Center, as other places are around the state, to recognize International Holocaust Day and to decry the evil of the hatred that went into that terrible chapter in world history. If you are watching this and you are not Jewish, understand that this is a universal theme. The theme of how hatred, when given free license, will subjugate any minority group of individuals. There is a narrative that involves other ethnic groups, slavery. There is pain and suffering that is worldwide. I had the opportunity to see the movie Belfast. And in Belfast, those of us who happen to be Roman Catholic and who happen to have our antecedents from Northern Ireland point to a period and experience of time where there was prejudice and violence directed at that minority. But for today's purpose, while we're talking about the terror of the Holocaust, it affects all of us. You don't have to be of a particular religious group or an ethnic group to see the evil of what happened and to join against hatred in every one of its forms. And that is, in essence, what we're saying today when we stand up on International Holocaust Day and we decry the terror that occurred at that time, that we deal not only with anti-Semitism, but with all of the antis and the hatreds in this world. I want our Deputy County Executive, Ken Jenkins, to share his thoughts as we close off our evening. Ken Jenkins.
Thank you, George. This is today, as we remember on International Holocaust Remembrance Day, why it is so critically important on January 27th for us around the world, but specifically here in Westchester County, to continue to remember and not forget the atrocities that led to the attempted extinction of a people, our Jewish friends and family. We can never let that happen, never again. So Westchester County joining with all of the places around the state of New York in marking with yellow for people to remember and not forget our friends and family members that are from Jewish tradition and making sure we're standing together and strongly with them to make sure that we never have that happen again. So Westchester County joining with everyone around the country and around the world on International Holocaust Remembrance Day to remember and not forget the 6 million Jewish victims of the Holocaust and the millions of other victims of Nazism. We cannot let that happen, and that's why we should stand strongly together and be upstanders and make sure nothing like that can happen again. And every time we watch around the world, even when a little bit of folks think that there's something that their voices should be heard, when they're trying to snuff out and not be able to recognize anyone else, we have to stand together. So we're here together for Westchester County, standing with everyone on International Holocaust Remembrance Day, and hope that you will never forget. Thank you.